You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
So rightfully so, Charlie, I'm not going to say called me out, but he pointed out that we have friends of the podcast and then they're just family members of the podcast. And if this is your first time watching us, first time listening, the guy we have with us today is family. He's the kind of guy who, when you invite him around, he can put your feet up on the sofa, he can fall asleep on the couch, he knows that everything in the kitchen is. If he wants food, he can get himself food. So, ShareRide Steve, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having me back. It's good to be back. It's been a while. I had an amazing Christmas. First one with the little guy, and it was everything I thought it'd be, man. Not to get too mushy on you guys.
Hey, man, like mush away, Holmes. Like, I can only imagine, bro. First bit of housekeeping though. This is the first time we've been on since I had COVID back in November. And, I wanted to get everybody who covered for me, you, Chris Adams, 5-Yard Lee, and, everybody grown out here, got kids, got families, and we haven't been able to get who, like, just everybody's doing something. I'm doing something, Kadeem's doing something. So the sophomore leap we were trying to take is kind of like a sophomore slump with the podcast, but we're still hanging around, right? So now that I got you on, bro, I just want to tell you thank you. And we appreciate you here, man, for filling in for me for real, bro. And teamwork makes the dream work, bro. If everybody's on listening on Spotify and your Apple Podcasts, when you do go to YouTube and check us out, you're gonna see ShareRide Steve got the new mic. That boy got the microphone on deck now, man. I like it. I like where we're going. That's a dope t-shirt as well. Got the vintage Dolphin shirt on. I like it, man. What's up, Kadeem? What you got?
So I feel like when we get ShareRide Steve on, there's so many topics that we need to discuss. There's normally something involving Xavier Howard, normally something involving Tua. So I think we'll start with Tua because I was having a conversation Tuesday morning after the Saints game, and a friend of mine said he's concerned about the one interception that Tua throws per game. And his point was it's how bad the interceptions are. It's like everyone's going to throw an interception. That's not the issue. It's that the interception Tua throws is kind of like, dude, what are you doing? So to me, it's a valid point. But starting with you, ShareRide Steve, given that I know, you call Tua Woody now, are you concerned about the one interception that Tua's throwing per game and the manner in which these interceptions are being thrown, I guess?
Of course I am. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. It's, we'll call it the learning curve of him needing to learn how to protect the ball. I think that's what it just comes down to. It's not even the interceptions. I think he's too loose with the ball in the pocket. His fumbles, we've recovered a couple of those loose balls. So there could have been more turnovers of late. We're playing teams that aren't great. So you can make mistakes and recover. But when you're in a really tight game with a good coached, talented team, they're going to make you pay for those mistakes. So he's gotten away with it. We've gotten W's. That's the most important thing. It's just got to learn from your mistakes. And, it's been frequent. Let's say that. He hasn't had too many clean games this year.
I don't think it's frequent though, Steve. I really don't. Like all in all, like for real. Like we know, like here, if you're a fan of the show, we know what time. We already know where the line is drawn. We know who likes who. We know who's on what side of the debates and stuff. But in all reality, like all jokes aside, I don't think it's that often. because the fumbles, at least the fumbles, unless you could show me one or two of the fumbles where it wasn't like blatantly on, where it was blatantly on him, it's a product of the line not being good. So yeah, he has to have pocket presence. Yeah, he has to move around in the pocket. But if it's sub 2.3 seconds, like people gonna say, oh, he missed this throw here. That person was open. Like, so he has to look at the play developing. He has to run for his life. He doesn't have the pocket, a clean pocket like he needs to. So the fumbles, I'm not even concerned about the fumbles, not even a little bit, because I really feel like that could get cleaned up with the O-line.
I think my biggest gripe is the timing. It always seems like he needs to learn when you don't need to get that excellent, 15-yard pass up the sideline to get him close. We got knocked out of field goal range this past game, and that's just you pushed Sanders back too far. Just throw it away. Just take your loss and keep your guy in a decent field goal range. I think he's making a lot of mistakes in enemy territory, which I guess is a little bit better than your own in some degree, but you got to play winning football as in smart football. I think he's maybe, I don't know, the game needs to slow down more for him, it seems like to me. How about this? Things are moving fast.
So very, very quickly. No, go after. I apologize.
That play was the Cam Jordan sack, right?
Yeah.
Davis got beat off the jump. There was nothing Tua could have did about that. Like, we could call a different play. That's not on Tua. Like, if we're third and 8+, 6+, and play caller calls a 5-yard drop, five-step drop, I mean, Tua could audible out of it, but if the right tackle's not good enough to protect him, there's nothing he could do about that. Like, he went right around Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan went right around him. We're just lucky he didn't get hurt again. Like, because that was the same type of whiff when AJ Epinesa went around Jesse Davis. I just don't see how that's really his fault. What were you about to say, Kadeem?
So two things. One, Steve, are you talking about the fumble where he steps up into the pocket and the left-hand side kind of collapses? So I think the Cam Jordan one is the long bomb to Matt Collins, and everyone's like, Tua done really well to get that throw off because Cam, Jesse Davis turnstile is what it is. But the fumble which knocked us out of field goal range, if I remember correctly, it might be Cam Jordan again. There's a spin move on Eichenberg, and him and Eichenberg and Austin Jackson kind of just get tangled, and Tua steps up, hits thing. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about. The interesting thing about Tua's interceptions is that the stats show that in the second half, after he throws, if he throws an interception in the second half, he's 26 for 32, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks with 149 passer rating. So there's this online joke basically saying when Tua throws a pick, he becomes a demon. Like, and we've seen in multiple games where I think there's been the Jags game, the Falcons game, probably the Jets game, and this last game where it's like, okay, Tua's thrown a pick. What's he going to do after? Touchdown drive. And it's like, why does it take a pick or a bad series for Tua and the offense to just come completely like it? To me, it's such a weird thing. And given that's what the stats show after interception, does that change anything for either of you guys? I guess Steve first.
No, I mean, you gotta answer the bell. And that's when you get knocked down, you got to get up. And, he did what he's supposed to do a lot of the times. Like I said, he's getting away with it against subpar teams. Like, let's not sugarcoat our competition of late. When you look at our streak, yes, the Saints are a very solid football team, but when you got 22 guys out and you're going against a lot of guys, I mean, they had a left tackle. I know this is on their offense, but the guy that was signed, he wasn't even on the practice squad. And he's out there playing. That's some dire straits, man. And to be honest, I mean, they had stars on defense not there. I mean, Lattimore, and they did have some other guys in Jordan, but Davis, who's a beast at the middle linebacker, wasn't there. They had a lot of backups, and essentially we scored 13 points. You can't turn over the ball. You can't lose yards when you're going against a well-coached team. And that's kind of where I'm like uneasy, but it takes time. It takes time to get comfortable. I understand that it takes time. It takes reps, and Tua needs more reps. You hope that he turns it around, but thus far he's gotten away with it. We're going to see these last 2 weeks, man. It's going to come together. It's time for the real dress rehearsal because we've had the warm-ups. It's go time now, man. I
think we have gotten away with it. You say he got away with it. I don't think it's really on him, bro. Like I really don't. I think that's a coach. Like if you're gonna call a play that requires a 5 yards drop on 3rd and 6, you already know Jesse Davis is one-on-one with Cam Jordan. I think you could call another play. I don't think that's on Tua. But I got this stat here. Justin Herbert's passer rating, 98.7. This is on the season. Josh Allen passer rating, 96.6. Tua Tagovailoa's passer rating, 94.0. Herbert's O-line is ranked 10th overall. Allen's O-line is ranked 18th overall. And Tua's O-line is ranked 32nd overall. So something has to give. If you can perform and come up with and be first in completion percentage and basically up in the upper echelon with passer rating and still have the 32nd O-line, I don't understand how. I feel like if the O-line is even ranked 20th, if we get a 20th ranked O-line, how much do you think that would improve the quarterback play and the running game? You see what I'm saying? So if he's doing this with a 32nd ranked O-line, I just think the praises should be there more than the stones should be casted.
You left Burrow off that list though, and he's got a terrible line.
You know what? Let me find out what his passer rating is. Just for ShareRide Steve, we're gonna find out what Joe Burrow's passer rating is. Go ahead, Kadeem.
So the response to what you said, and it's a response I've seen on Twitter. I've seen media guys say it's, well, you know, Tua's completing 5-6 yard passes, and I think it was Ricky Watson on Twitter turned around and said, well, 5-6 yard completions are completions. Like, why does it matter whether it's a 5 yard, a 25 yard, a 55 yard? I think the one thing which gets knocked against Tua and the Dolphins in general is that, well, it's all dink and dunk. It's little handoffs to the running back and all that kind of stuff. But to me, and I've seen media members and obviously Dolphins fans respond and say, when you've got the worst offensive line in the NFL, what do you expect? You don't have 3-4 seconds to stand back and find guys 15 yards down the field. You know, people talk about. I think Jaylen Waddle's longest touchdown reception is something like 9 yards. It's like 9, 3, 2, 1, all that kind of stuff. And I would love for Waddle to get a 70-yard touchdown, but in order for a 70-yard touchdown to happen, he's either got to one, break a tackle, which at the moment just not happening, or two, or the defensive line need to learn to block and then get the time to block, so then Tua can throw down forward to Waddle. It's and until this offensive line gets sorted, it's going to be Tua throwing another 2 seconds, and it's going to be 5-6 yard passes. And as people say, when Mac Jones does it, it's brilliant. When Brady does it, it's brilliant. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. When Tua does it, it's he can't. He has no NFL arm talent, all that kind of stuff. What do you think, Steve?
I agree 100% with the Mac Jones stuff. He is way overhyped for his play this year. It's been very solid. It's been very respectable for a rookie, but it hasn't been spectacular. It's been consistent. I think that's one thing that you can give that guy credit for. And even when they're getting blown out, and I say blown out like 2-3 scores, he finds a way to get him back in the game towards the very end, which I give him credit for. You have to watch the end of their games because they're sneaky. They ended up finding a way to make it a game. So he's done a lot of good things, but yeah, I don't see how anyone can say Mac Jones has really outplayed Tua this year. I would not understand that whatsoever. Now, you want to talk about Joe Burrow, okay, someone like that's a different story. There's other guys out there, but yeah, that does bother me. The Mac Jones hype and how much crap Tua gets. It is unfair. And listen, I I know you boys think maybe anti-Tua. I know the kid can play. It's other concerns that, are a lot of it's out of his control. So it's not fair necessarily, but this is a business, and I need rings. I need Super Bowls in my life. So it's not personal. Like I said, I'm excited what's going on, and I think the Mac Jones comparison is it's a poor comparison when you're going to say Jones is superior over Tua.
Charlie, did you find that stat?
Yeah, so Joe Burrow's passing rating is 101. His completion percentage is 69.9. And he's taken 48 sacks this year. I'm trying to find out where his O-line is ranked.
It's most in the NFL.
It doesn't matter. It don't matter. But I'll give you this. Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert lead the league in interceptions. I'm just saying. It's not by much, but we here, man. Look, let's talk about something festive. Like the playoffs. Like, I mean, we ain't got to talk about the playoffs, but I will say this. No one thought we were going to be here 1-7. You know what I'm saying? And if we could get one of those games, if we could get the Jacksonville game, if we could get the Atlanta game, but we can't, right? If we could get one of those games, I feel like this whole thing would be talked about differently. When you come back from an injury, and as far as the quarterback goes, you come back from an injury, and your team is just in the middle of conversations with Deshaun Watson, literally on the phone talking to Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of stuff around the organization. Everybody calling for Brian Flores' job. Everybody calling for Chris Greer's job. That's not an environment conducive of success. You know what I'm saying? And still, they were still able to play through it. They were still able to vibe with each other. The players I'm talking about, still able to go out there and have fun. That's how you get a 7-game winning streak. To you first, Steve. Now that Brian Flores has got this team back on the streak and back the train back on the tracks, are we talking about him getting dismissed again?
No, that was never even in question. I think anyone with real good football knowledge knows that man is a fine coach. It was a little head scratching at the beginning of the year, but we were playing with a backup quarterback, which that's not an ideal scenario. I think it snowballed a bit, and we had some rough losses, but there is absolutely no way that man is being dismissed. Zero chance.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, the 3 years, 3 bad starts. The first year you can go, you know what? Everyone predicted us to go 0-16 is what it is. I don't count that as, that's not the numbers and the records show that, it was a bad start, really bad start. But to me, it's like context. Context is everything. Year 2, again, which could be better, is what it is. The bad start this year to me was concerning. Obviously, Brissett was under center. At the same time, it's like we did bring in Brissett, paid him backup money, and it's like, dude, we need to be better. I'm in no way calling for him to get sacked, not at all. I was never part of that. I don't think the organization were looking for his head. Obviously, you had people in the media saying that Brian Flores is in the hot seat. The media has got it wrong, I guess, 9 times out of 10. Even if anything, 10 out of 10 when it comes to the Miami Dolphins and what's going on inside the organization. But yeah, I've seen a few people now turn around and once again say he's coach of the year candidate. Like, really and truly, given the turnaround this season, is there, or what other coach of the year candidates are they going to be? Like, no one's had an amazing year. The only person,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I can't give Flores coach of the year, Holmes. I can't do it.
Okay, if the Dolphins continue this win streak and make the playoffs, you don't think he deserves coach of the year, or at least be part of the conversation?
It is honorable mention. You know what? I can't think of any coaches off the top of my head right now. So maybe after I do some thinking about it, by the time bonus time comes around, I'll have an answer for Brian Flores in the coach of the year conversation. But off the top of my head, bro, you had expectations. And the ceiling for me, this team, we Josh Kasker was on from Same Old Dolphin Show, and we don't see a loss on the schedule. 2 at the most with Buffalo. You throw a third one in there with Tampa, right? And the ceiling that I had for this team was 13 wins. The low when I was texting ShareRide Steve was 10. Like, bro, the over under was 9.5 in Vegas. So I'm like, bro, I'm taking 10 all day. Like, yo, go to Vegas and bet your house on the Dolphins getting 10 wins, right? So the fact that we're here dancing around like the edge of the cliff, I'm like, nah, bro, that's not cool. So yes, the resolve is there to get them back on track, but how do we get off the tracks in the first place? Now, and I understand we lost Tua for a little bit, but still, Brissett had us in some of them games, and we still lost to the Raiders, still lost to the Colts. Brissett had us in those games. So I'm gonna think about some coaches, but I don't know if Flores could get Coach of the Year right now. Like, he's been considered, he was in the conversation the first 2 seasons. I guess he's in the conversation now. I don't know about that though.
Well, so before we pass over to Steve, I'm looking at the standings right now. You're looking at the 11-4 Cowboys. Like, that's not really Coach of the Year candidate, from the Cowboys. The Rams are 11-4. Like, to me, the standout is probably going to be the Packers on Matt LaFleur, given that the team are 12-3, probably going to finish, like 13, 14 wins. But then, you look at the Bucs are 11-4. There's no one else in the NFC. If Dan Campbell can pick up 2 more wins, you might say, well, given how bad that team was. But again, it's like, if Brian Flores didn't get it in his rookie year, then I ain't give it to Dan Campbell, So, and then you look at the teams in the AFC, or the coaches in the AFC. It's not from the East. I don't think it goes to the Chiefs in the West. It's not going to be from the North. It's not going to be from the South. Like, Brian Flores might win it because there's no standout candidates outside of Matt LaFleur. Everyone else has been mediocre / around average, and I think given it's more Flores will win it because of the win streak. Because no team has lost 7 in a row to win 7 in a row. And if he makes the playoffs, it's like, that's quite a turnaround. But again, like, this is more people saying he's at least in the conversation, I guess. What do you think, Steve?
I think the Coach of the Year really comes down to overachievers. What team is overachieving? And this year, there's the only team that I would say the leader would be the Bengals. I don't think people thought they were as polished as they've been. They've had some slumps. They've had some tremendous games. But the defense has really played well, much better than I anticipated, and I think most. And their offensive line is really rough. They got great wideouts, and they have a very good running back. And they have some nice pieces, obviously. So I would put I'm drawing a blank.
Zach Taylor?
There you go. I would put Zach Taylor as the front runner, and I haven't even looked at Vegas odds, but just me personally, the names you just broke it down well. I can't see anyone else. Now, if Flores does run the table, he's in the conversation, but I agree. It's hard when you look back at Atlanta, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Those were really bad coaching games. That's the problem. It's not just losses. You almost feel like you just got out coached, and that's the issue with him.
I think the Bengals offensive line is ranked 29th. Like, yeah, that's ugly.
So hold on. Are they ranked 29th right now? Because Pro Football Focus had them 22nd a week ago.
So I'm looking at a tweet from 23 hours ago which said the Bengals have the 29th ranked offensive line. But then Pro Football Focus also had Ian Book ranked higher than Tua in Monday Night Football. And I think it also had Zach Wilson ranked higher than Joey Bullets in Sunday's game. Now, there's no way you can tell me that Ian Book and Zach Wilson had better games than Joe Burrow and Tua. And even though Tua didn't play that amazing, he wasn't as bad as Ian Book. Now, granted, Ian Book had no time to throw, no time to do anything. But guys, come on, like PFF, let's not like Burrow had 4 touchdowns and 500 yards, and Zach Wilson got graded better than that. Like, make it make sense.
All right, so here's what I'll do. ShareRide Steve hit me in the head with that Zach Taylor. I think Zach Taylor is probably coach of the year. From what I just looked up, I would probably give it to Frank Wright after that with the Colts. You know, Carson Wentz never gets credit, bro. Like I thought Carson Wentz got a bad hand too. And what I mean by that was the world was falling on him. He got hurt a couple times. He don't get credit for taking that team to the Super Bowl, although he did, and Foles ended up finishing the job. So he don't get credit for that. That's messed up, but whatever. So I think everybody counted Wentz out. So for Frank Wright to have this team on the verge of winning the division, I think Frank Wright has to be considered. I think Zach Taylor has to be considered. And from what everything else I see, I would say Flores is in the conversation. It just doesn't sit well with me that Kadeem had a front row seat, literally front row seat in the after the Jaguars game, and asked Coach Flores questions, and came back onto this podcast and said Flores was in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? That was like week 7. That was like week 6, something like that. So it's like, man, like there's no. I remember, bro. We were taking on a lot of water. This ship was taking on a lot of water, bro. And Steve hit it on the head when he said it's about overachieving. That is not like the MVP or most improved player. That is an overachievement. And that's why Flores was in the conversation when we were won 5 games that year. That's why we overachieved last year and was a game away from the playoffs. Nobody had us in there. This year, we're supposed to be where we are right now. And we're not even there. So I'm not sure if Flores can get credit for that. Yes, he gets credit for the adversity and the fortitude that he stayed in the paint. But no, he did not overachieve. He did not meet expectations. We fell short. But we're still here. You know what I'm saying? So, Steve, you want to wrap it up with the Flores, the coach of the year convo? We could, you know what I'm saying, pivot off of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is what it is. He's going to really jump in the conversation most likely if we finish out undefeated. I think all of a sudden all the ESPN formats will all be saying, hey, look what Miami did. Look what they're doing, and especially Tennessee, who's number 2 in the AFC right now, and New England, who's everyone's been loving all year long. So that will definitely jump him towards the front of the line.
While we on accolades and superlatives, offensive rookie of the year, I think there's only 2 people really in the conversation. I don't know how Mac Jones is even talked about for it, but we're going to talk about the 2 that I think are 1 and 2. Who, if you guys had to guess 1 and 2 right now, who do you think would be offensive rookie of the year right now in the NFL? 1 and 2.
It's Waddle and Chase.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
I can't think of anyone else. And before we kind of get onto that, everyone who said that Dolphins should have taken Harris at 15 and Najee Harris at 15 instead of Jalen Phillips and Devonta Smith instead of Jaylen Waddle, where are you now? Please tell me where you are now, because that Waddle picks, like at first it was the Dolphins really gave up 2 first-round picks to get Waddle when they could have taken Smith or all that kind of stuff. But you look at the numbers alone in terms of reception of what Waddle was producing this year, it's record-breaking numbers. And like, don't forget, 4 of those games were without Tua when you had Brissett, and Brissett could do nothing. And like Charlie said, a couple of episodes ago, he didn't have the extra game. It's going to be in 16 games. He'll probably break the record against the Titans and have an extra game to set the record. And then anyone who breaks it after probably will be in the full 17 games. So, yeah, I just wanted to, big up the Dolphins' chest, I guess.
Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Chase he started off the year, he had some unreal games. And he just jumped so far ahead, and especially with the touchdowns, everyone basically gave it to him. And it's so funny. I got 2 good friends on the group chat, and it came up that Chase is hands down better. I go, wait a minute. I go, it's debatable. I didn't say Waddle is better, but I go, it is debatable, and they're like, you're crazy. And it's been weeks now, about past month. After every week, I'm texting the stats, and there's no question. Even after watching last game for the first time, you know who Waddle remind me of? A young Antonio Brown. This guy just seems so elusive, and you just got to get him the ball in screens and then get him the ball downfield. He's not a one-trick pony. I think Chase has a higher ceiling, but I think Waddle has had the better year. Because if you take away Chase's 2 big games, which, I mean, you can't really take it away from him necessarily, but he's had a game with one catch, 3 yards. Waddle has been a factor, I feel like, almost every game, especially now. He's without question a number 1 wideout in the league, I think, today.
Hey, shout out to Louis Riddick of ESPN. He said, I'm a Brian Flores fan. I'm a Tua supporter. I want the Dolphins to get into the playoffs. After what they've overcome this season to this point, they have my respect. Shout out to Louis Riddick. Listen, you said it's debatable, Steve. Trying not to be unbiased, I can make the argument that Waddle has it. Now, Waddle missed the game. Chase played all his games. And I'm going to run off the stats real quick. Chase has 68 receptions, 1,163 yards, 10 touchdowns. I'll say that again. Jamar Chase has 68 receptions, 1,163 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Jaylen Waddle has 96 receptions, 941 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 96 receptions, 941 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Listen, with 1 game fewer than Jamar Chase. So, one for me, he would already have the record if he had the same amount of games as Chase. He'll have over 101. And just to plug this in, Jaylen Waddle is 5 receptions short of tying the record and 6 from breaking the record. So if he had that 1 game that Jamar Chase has over him, he would have that record right now. Then the yardage will be fairly close. He'll be, who knows, maybe 60 yards less than Jamar Chase with the same amount of games. Okay, Chase does have him in touchdowns. Chase has 10 touchdowns. Waddle has 5. Waddle's not that type of receiver, but we just talking about Offensive Rookie of the Year. So when it's all said and done, there's 2 games left. Pending everyone stays healthy and off of the COVID list, I got to imagine Jaylen Waddle's going to have 110-plus receptions. And I'm not even exaggerating. 110-plus receptions, he's going to break the record. He'll probably be fairly close to Jamar. If he's within 50 yards of Jamar Chase when it comes to receiving yards, yeah, Jamar Chase has 10 touchdowns. Waddle has 5, but then there's that game that Waddle has 1 less than Jamar Chase. So this is a conversation. This is not, he didn't run away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jamar Chase was running away with Offensive Rookie of the Year, but he made some stops, and the other train caught up to him. So it's debatable. Let us know in the comments after you guys share, like, and subscribe, man. Follow us at Go Time Dolphins on all platforms. We're on YouTube now. Y'all know what time it is. Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. ShareRide Steve with us. Shout out to ShareRide Steve. About to make everybody teary-eyed with the first Christmas with the newborn, man. That's what's up, man. I like it. What you got, Kadeem?
Like, it's interesting, and you know, Waddle's got all these receptions, great. For me, I just, in the nicest way possible, I just hate the way we use him. Like, so I'm looking at ESPN and their stats, but ESPN had Jamar Chase's average reception at 17.1 yards, when Jaylen Waddle is at 9.8. And again, I understand it's the offensive line, all that kind of stuff, but to me, it's like the biggest misuse of Jaylen Waddle, or the biggest play, was that the safety against the Raiders. I don't know what Brissett is doing throwing Jaylen Waddle that ball. Like that's not on Waddle. Waddle had to go up and get it, but it's like I understand he's got the speed and he can make guy miss and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes you just want to see him test someone downfield. And it doesn't have to be a 40, 50-yard run, but again, I feel like the way we use him against the Saints, getting him in behind people, because Waddle can get behind someone within 2 seconds. He's got that speed. And if you have an extra blocker to give Tua an extra 0.5 seconds, I think that we can start seeing some bigger plays. And don't get me wrong, Waddle's had some big plays, but then there's some, and again, looking at the stats, there's some games where it's like 12 receptions for 58 yards. Like, that's horrible. Like,
man, listen, bro, I get it, but then what's gonna happen is we want to see Waddle with the long ball, but then Monday morning we're gonna get ShareRide Steve on a podcast and he's gonna say, "Hey, Tua holds the ball too long." You know what I'm saying? like we can't have that, bro. We don't have the luxury right now. He's doing everything he can right now. Like he meaning Waddle. If it's 15 receptions a game, breaking records, cool. But we can't afford that right now. Waddle average, this is not even an exaggeration. Waddle averaged his last season in college 47 yards per touchdown in college, bro. Like, that is insane. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got Jamar Chase over there. He has some long balls, and that's how his average is at 17. But we can't use Waddle like that right now. And
of course.
Although, like, I was watching the last game, and I really wanted to say those days are over with. Like, Waddle going over the top might be over with. Now, I'm not ready to say it's over with, but if you get a supporting cast around him with the receivers, we may not necessarily need that. You know what I'm saying? We just need someone to open up the field so they can't cue in on Waddle and Gesicki, and then you have someone over the top, and it's like, pick your poison. Now it's one-on-one all over the board. I like my mismatches. So, yeah, I would love to see Waddle go over the top, but I don't think that's going to happen no time soon. We need to get this line fixed.
Very, very quickly before sorry, Steve. I think the way we used him against the Saints was perfect. You had him in the backfield, meaning that no wide receiver can jam at the line of scrimmage. And at that point, he's gone. And I spoke on the preview for the Saints game, who was going to take that Albert Wilson role where, you know, he starts from the right, runs in behind the backfield, and then runs up the left-hand side of the field. They were doing something similar with Waddle, but out of different formations. And I think, again, that's the best way to use Waddle because it allows him, like I said, to not get jammed. Like, again, you'd be stupid to press Waddle as it is, but it means that, one, you can work out who's on Waddle in terms of man, and then it's just like, Waddle, go have fun. Like, get a running head start so you build up your top speed. I think if we see Waddle going forward over the next few years used like that, to me, perfect. Like, I think that's when you start seeing his average, you know, reception go up from like 9.8 to 15, 16, 17 yards. Sorry, Steve.
No, I agree. The second game, I thought he was utilized fantastically. We even took a long shot up the sideline with him. It was like 30, 40 yards. I loved how we used him. We're being forced to use him in so many different ways because we have to. We don't have weapons like Cincinnati does. When we throw it short to Waddle, it's because we don't have a Joe Mixon to hand it off to. So his numbers are going to improve once the overall offense improves, and we can get him deep more. Like that's a given. The thing about him, he's really growing on me because who else do you trust on this offense? Waddle, I know, is going to show up. Like I have so much confidence in him right now that he's going to show up and do his job. As much I love Mike Gesicki, but he disappears in games. He just does. I feel like Waddle is becoming a guy where he's going to show up every single game. That's what stars do. This kid is really becoming a star. He's not going to disappear in games because give him a bubble screen, give him this, go deep. He's going to either dictate what the defense is playing or he's just going to have a lot of touches. And like Charlie said, he's a 100-plus guy from here on out. He just is. You have to get that guy the ball.
Every year. I think if John Gruden was calling plays, Mike Gesicki would not get missing like that. I think that has something to do with play calling. Although the play calling has gotten a lot better. When I seen Waddle back in the backfield, I was like, oh, I like this. Before we even got to see what it looked like, I'm like, oh yeah. Now we thinking. So I think, you know, since we got you, Steve. We haven't had a chance to talk about a lot of stuff that me and Kadeem has covered in the past couple of weeks. How do you feel about going into the offseason and, you know, there may be coordinators out there, OCs out there, What's your boy name who just got let go from the Panthers?
Joe Brady.
Yeah, Joe Brady out there. How do you feel about the Dolphins' near future? Do you feel like we need to move on from our OCs? Do you feel like, you know what, I'm not happy with our OCs now, but we need to retain them just for continuity? How do you feel about our status with our offensive coordinator right now?
I agree. The play calling has improved. To me, these coordinators, I should say, they just have either a hot hand or a cold hand. There's like no in between with them. Either we're looking like especially like open drives at the beginning of the year when it was really scripted. It looked nice. It looked like we knew what we were doing. And then there's times where, every offense is going to struggle throughout the year and take their lumps. But that Waddle play was beautiful. I mean, it was like I was watching in slow motion how they got all the defense to shift. They were in man. It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous play design. And there's times where I'm in love with it and times I'm not. The Brissett, when he came in on that short play, it felt so obvious, and then the rhythm was terrible. They weren't faked out by the run, and they had two guys downfield, and that was it. It was a just terrible play. I probably personally would like to see someone more experienced. I would because the thing is that we're just getting through the regular season. We know when it's playoff time, it gets tight. It gets really tight. I don't know if these guys are going to be able to be creative enough. Like, you need to be in the playoffs. You need to show up with a running game one week, and the next week you got to have a completely different scheme because it's a different personnel, different environment, weather conditions. I don't know if they have it. It's yet to be proven, but I would feel more comfortable with a proven guy.
So before you jump in, Kadeem, everyone knows on this podcast that I believe O-line has to get better before we can assess Tua, and the O-line has to get better before we can assess the OCs. So just a little bit I've seen, I think we can retain them because I want the continuity. Hey, look, we got this far with who we have now. Now another year under their belt, I think we'll be better. So the question is to you, Steve. So even if we go get someone with experience, I'm going to throw a name out there who I absolutely wanted once he became available was Doug Peterson, right? If you go someone like a Doug Peterson, who I absolutely trust with my franchise, right? But now what does that do with the dynamic of the coaching room when it's, oh, you got two head coaches in here? You know what I'm saying? Like, he might be able to talk. Now, I ain't saying talk back, but cause a rift if the defense isn't performing, offense is performing now. Hey, you worry about your defense. We could get some Remember the Titans stuff going on here. You worry about your offense. You know what I'm saying? So, no, but all jokes aside, although Kadeem missed it because he ain't never seen Remember the Titans, we'll fix that. So, look, yeah, so Doug Peterson comes in and we ball out. And he gets a coaching job the next year. Are you willing to sacrifice that?
Well, haven't we been doing that every year anyway?
No, we've been underperforming, and then we had to do it. So now we're going to overperform, and then we're still going to move on from OCs. If that's
the first year we overperformed though, and then we still sent Chad O'Shea packing because he was too complicated, and they didn't like that. I agree. I would like us to settle in with guys. I don't want Tua to have to learn a new system that's not good for anybody. Just to me, we'll see how it plays out here at the end. I mean, it really does. If the game plan stinks, that's going to be a problem. They need to shine. You need to have tricks. I want to see the flea flickers. I want to see Waddle everywhere.
The exact same thing.
I want, and not too crazy. Don't get too cute. Don't get me wrong. But you need to come out with stuff that we haven't seen yet this year. That's been setting up all year. You know what I mean? So I think this is the tryout towards the end of the year. And one guy we did bring on, and he had medical conditions. Flores' first year was Jim Caldwell. That's another name that I'm really interested in. That guy seems so steady to me. He would bring this steady presence to this offensive experience, and he has great success. I mean, he won in Detroit. The man was winning in Detroit. So I do like what he does, and he's getting interviewed for Jacksonville right now. or this coming week.
So Jim Caldwell was actually on the Miami Dolphins staff as an assistant head coach when Flores got hired. And that was to have experience sitting behind Flores for game time like decisions. Like during the game, you get should we call timeout here? Should we not call timeout here? If you're a rookie head coach like Brian Flores it's nice to have that voice come in the head, say like, hey, we're calling a timeout after this play. Or we need to think about calling a timeout here. Or hey, it's best if we call a timeout here after this play. So stuff like that, and that's what Jim Caldwell would have did. You would like to see this guy get a head coaching job. Like how you get Detroit turned around. You know what I'm saying? You had a Colts team win the Super Bowl. Yeah, this is go time Dolphins though, but yeah, it would have been nice to retain Jim Caldwell. And it's funny you said that, Steve, because I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, did Jim Caldwell get ahead of the curve and like say, hey, I'm getting off of this ship because I don't like where it's going? And then you seen Patrick Graham leave, the defensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if he was just like, yo, I don't know if I want to be here.
No, I forget what it was. It was
yeah, it was help. It was for help. It was for help.
Family issue. Yeah.
Yeah. What you got, Kadeem?
This is one of the first conversations I remember me and Charlie really having before the podcast, and it was, what offensive coordinator do you give Tua? Because, like we've said, you give him a young up and coming, college coach who knows what he's doing, and he's going to come in, give you a top 5 offense, and then within 1 or 2 years, he's taking a head coach job. And basically, every 1 or 2 years, you're replacing your offensive coordinator because he's going on and getting a head coaching job, as opposed to you give him someone who's okay, average, new, and he's probably going to be around for 5-6 years, if not longer. But really and truly, it's because he hasn't done enough to really get a new job. In an ideal world, a Godsey, a Studsville, or whoever becomes like that. Is it McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator?
Yeah, Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels, who, let's be honest, probably should have taken a second head coach job, over the past few years, but I kind of turned it down to stay in New England, be it because he's going to take over from Belichick or because he's kind of comfortable wherever he is. That would be the best case scenario, Godsey, these last few games, turns it around, we make the playoffs, have a playoff run, and he goes, you know what, the offense is going to keep on continuing. But he's comfortable in Miami, not because he's bad, but he kind of knows that being in Miami is best for him. Not because he has no ambition. It's just, I like what we have here. I like working through all that kind of stuff. I'm surprised. Now, I don't know if Bill O'Brien's going to come up once again. I think it would be amazing if we got Steve Sarkisian, before he went to, was it Texas he went to?
Mm-hmm.
Again, that would have been the perfect, for Tua, for everyone else, I guess. I'm okay with Godsey. I think what I've seen for the last few weeks with Tua under center and this offensive line and these weapons, I'm willing to give him another chance. And, don't get me wrong, like I said, I wish we utilized Waddle more. Started to see it in the Saints game. We mentioned Mike Gesicki. I don't think he's got a touchdown in the last 6 games. He had the one which hit him smack bang in his face, but
that was a tough catch though. But it did hit him in the face, man.
Dude, it went through his face. Like, that's the kind of thing that, like, I might do that. I've never caught a football from an NFL quarterback. I might do that, but again, like, I spend so much time on Twitter, just for work and all that kind of stuff. The conversation today, which is December 29th, is if the Dolphins are going to keep one of these 2 players out of Ogba and Gesicki, it's probably going to be Ogba, because Gesicki, Steve said he goes missing for games. For me, I don't know if the coverage he gets means that other guys are open. I still think there's times where you can throw to Mike Gesicki and he's going to bring the ball down, especially in the red zone and stuff like that. I don't know if they're trying to use him less so he doesn't demand as much money. But the flip side to that is the chances are he's going to go somewhere and completely ball out. And us Miami fans will go, But where was that Mike Gesicki in Miami? It's like he was there the whole time. He didn't utilize him well. So again, over the next few weeks, if Gosney can find a way to scheme guys like Waddle and Gesicki open, I'd love it. You know, I find that like Adam Shaheen and I'm not talking down these guys, but like Isaiah Ford, Adam Shaheen, Matt Collins, Devontae Parker to a lesser extent, I feel like they're schemed open better. But then I don't know if that's just because teams are starting to go, okay, we can't allow Waddle to get open, we can't allow Gesicki to get open. If we get killed by Adam Shaheen, Isaiah Ford, and Matt Collins, it is what it is. But yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying I'm fine with Godsey. I just wish it was a bit more exotic. But we're seeing more exotic plays over the past few weeks. The walking touchdown, the way we've used Waddle, the Waddle touchdown last game. It's coming there. I just wish it hadn't taken 15 weeks to kind of get to this point. Yeah. Although something we haven't spoken about yet, probably should have touched it at the start of the episode. I bring it up because talking about Waddle and all these receivers. Preston Williams has COVID. Preston Williams ain't going to play against the Titans. It's Preston Williams, Brandon Jones, Alan Butler, and John Jenkins all on the COVID list.
Yeah, and we're getting back Duke Riley, Justin Coleman, Robert Jones, Sethan Carter, and Greg Manx are coming off of the COVID list.
Yeah. Me and Charlie discussed last episode about, you know, my imaginary Madden world in which we keep everyone. You know, we keep Ogba, keep Gesicki, we sign a wide receiver 2, a center, and a right tackle in free agency with all this magic money. You know,
Kadeem playing with Monopoly money. Hey, y'all play Monopoly over there in London?
Yes.
Hey, I don't know, bro. I gotta ask, bro.
I'm pretty sure Monopoly isn't Monopoly like a UK game as it is, or
is it?
I feel like it is. I'll quickly stack check. But and I'll kind of give a. Well, maybe it's not Monopoly. History of Monopoly. Oh,
this guy.
Sometimes just want computers to.
Hey, while you're looking up Monopoly, ShareRide Steve, bro. What we doing with free agency? Like, what is your desired? This is what ShareRide Steve wants to see the Dolphins do in free agency. You got the floor. You can do what you want. You know what I'm saying? We have $85 million in cap space. I'm pretty sure you have an idea of who's coming up and who's coming in, who's going out and stuff. What does ShareRide Steve envision for the Miami Dolphins?
It's really offense. I think we got pretty good depth. I mean, linebacker is hot and cold. There's a couple of weeks where you love some of these guys and then they disappear on you and you're like, what's going on? Or support play. But it's offensive line and a running back. I'm okay with the committee, but we need to get a top end running back. I think that's the other thing where it's hard to judge these offensive coordinators because we don't have a running game. And when you don't have a running game, it's difficult to call plays. It just play action. It doesn't work as well. Short yardage, you can't you're not guaranteed to get a yard or two. So you really have to be creative. And I think that's what it's hard to judge not only the two of us play, but everyone overall on the offense. Wide out, I'm not interested in spending money on a big name guy. I'm really happy with Waddle. To me, we can find guys in the draft in the 3rd, 4th round that are going to be serviceable. I don't like the idea of spending all my money because Waddle, sooner than later, is going to need to get paid. It's just
that's 5 years from now, Steve.
Well, I'm just saying if we bring in a guy on a 4 or 5 year deal, which you're probably gonna if you're trying to get a top tier guy.
Yeah,
I love Robinson. I mean, the guy produced in Jacksonville and Chicago, and he never had a quarterback. There's so many positives. You can look at so many different guys. Adams, oh my God, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think before the season started, That's what we were all talking about. It was like wideouts. Are we going to get Robinson? Are we going to get Juju? Are we going to get Godwin? We were never talking about O-line.
That was before the draft, though.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was before the draft when we should have fixed the O-line, though. We should have fixed it by then, but we didn't.
We didn't. And we didn't even address it in the draft. So I'm okay with really just dumping all of our chips on O-line and a running back.
So what would the receivers be? And because I don't think none of us are going to no one in their right mind that's a Dolphin fan would disagree with the O-line, right? So crossing the O-line out, because we're all going to get O-line, what would your receivers look like? So you're retaining Devontae Parker.
For the amount of money he makes, I think yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, I'm not thrilled with the season he's having. He didn't show up against the Saints. He didn't have a single catch. But he can show up. He can play. And I think for what he's getting paid, yeah, you can keep him around one more year. To me, Jacksonville signed Marvin Jones.
Right.
If we let's get guys that can play football, but they don't need to be paid $15-20 million. There's plenty of talented guys that are serviceable. I think we have a number one wideout. Jaylen Waddle is a number one wideout in the league. He's going to catch over 100 balls, and he's a premier guy. I don't need another premier. I mean, it'd be nice. It's a luxury, I think. We need to tighten up some holes on the defense, at least long-term holes, I believe. But let's just, even a tight end. I think the tight end, the room is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Do we pay Gesicki? Do we bring someone else in? Hunter Long, is he the answer? The tight end room is iffy as well. So let's see how it finishes, man. That's and then I'll tell you how I feel. We'll see who shows up.
So I'm looking at free agents, wide receiver free agents in 2022. Top of the list is obviously Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams. Will Fuller's number 4 because of how much he gets paid. Good luck, Will Fuller.
Hold on, let's stop right there. Were you interested in bringing Fuller back for less money, ShareRide?
Way less, yes.
Way less.
He's got to be a $5 million deal.
Right. I said 6, so I get it. Go ahead,
Steve. I messaged you with the quote that Flores and Greer are going to say that they like what he did in practice and given full offseason to stay healthy, he'll be fine next year. I think, So, if Will Fuller takes a lot less money, then I guess you take another flyer. But
he knows the system. That's one big benefit.
I'm telling you, bro. That's a plus.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, AJ Green was mentioned before, Sammy Watkins. I'm not interested in AB at all, but I know Charlie is. Like, that's just a conversation we done.
You know what? Since I got both of y'all on, bro, why can't we go AB opposite of Parker, bro? What's wrong with that, Steve? You said you bring back. This is for both of y'all. You bring back Will Fuller for 5, who can't stay on the field, but you won't pay AB $3 million to be opposite of Parker. So now you have AB and Waddle and Gesicki and Parker. You wouldn't do that?
He's not coming for $3 million because Tampa will match that.
Who?
And he's not leaving town for
no. So pending Arian says I'm done. I'm done with AB. We got the ring. I'm not putting up with this.
Right.
So now AB is on the market. This is all obviously he has to be on the market. We're not trading for him. But I don't understand. At some point, you have to say, you know what? Yes, we want to win. Everybody. Oh, how did the Rams put that team together? How did Tampa put this team together? Because they take chances on people. They went out of their way. Rams don't have any first round picks until ShareRide Mini is in college. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, we're going to mortgage our future. And Tampa said, look, we're going to go in on all the old heads. And we got Tom Brady as our quarterback. So everybody wants this, but no one wants to take the risk. You know what? Andre 3000 said it best. He said, everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. I'm just saying, bro, everybody want to win the Super Bowl, but you don't want to take risks on players.
I don't hate it. I wouldn't be like bent out of shape about it because it would just be, you're on your last leg. You know what I mean? You screw up, you're gone. So he's been riding a fine line. I mean, the fake Vax card. I mean, that's what he brings to the table, man. Like, it's antics. He's already it's so head scratching. It's like, what does this guy think about at times? Why? And that's what you're bringing. You're bringing a little bit of a circus.
Oh yeah, I didn't say you wasn't gonna get none of the foolishness. I'm just saying, what you get on the football field though.
And he's going to be playing in his backyard. So is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. But
I just think you put pieces around that. That way, when something does happen, when it's going to happen, but when it happens, you'll be 10-2 at the time, and you could replace them.
10-2.
Yeah,
dude, you'll be preseason week 2 at best, and you could do something. It's like, dude, really?
We'll have his replacement, is what I'm saying. Well, his replacement will already be on the team. That's all I'm saying, bro.
But if again, the point with me is that, it's like we said, we gave Damon Arnett a chance, we gave Isaiah Wilson a chance, but they were basically on their second chances in the NFL. Brown is on his, let's say, 4th, and that's me being kind.
Well, it's like 24th, but
and that's the thing. Like I said, I'm willing to give guys a second chance. You might be able to twist my arm, and I'll give you a third chance. When you're on your 24th, no. And again, that's my reason for not bringing Antonio Brown. I don't think he deserves any more chances in the NFL. So I'm not giving him a chance in Miami.
It would have to be an incentive-related deal. It has to be.
Cool
it can't be a bunch of guaranteed money, and Greer wouldn't do that. But I'm just saying, give him $8 million, $10 million deal, but you have to make Pro Bowl and this, that, and the other. Okay, I'd entertain it, but I don't see it happening. I don't think Greer's interested at all.
Steve, I take it. Oh, I take it. Would you bring back Albert Wilson and Mac Jones?
So Wilson's funny. He's shown signs of what we were expecting from him, but he disappears again. So Lynn Bowden, I expect to see him come back at some point and play. I mean, I really liked him. The guy's got great hands. I think he's a playmaker. That's what I'm saying. I feel like with Bowden coming back, you got Parker, who, even if he gives you half the season, give me another proven vet. And then when you have a running game, you're fine. You don't have to beat every matchup on the field every play. You just need to get one guy open. So whatever that looks like, you don't need superstars galore on the outside. I think look at all the premier teams. I mean, Baltimore's winning games. They got some nice pieces, but nothing great. Like, it's just, there's teams that are winning with either one star or,
Bro, we have this problem as Miami fans, and it's just not the Dolphins. It's all of Miami teams. We do this. We have this problem. We can't let go of our favorite players. He held on to Dwayne Wade too long. I get it. We love him. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let him go when it's time. You know what I'm saying? Cam Wake was just stealing money. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's time, bro. You play on third down and that's it. Like, I need more snaps, Cam Wake. We can't let our favorite players go. It's time, bro. It's okay, Devontae Parker. It's okay. We can let him go, replace him with Odell Beckham Jr., give Odell $15 million. I'm just saying, bro. Hey, so we can't give Odell 15 and put AB on the other side?
Oh my God, no.
Dude, you're asking for trouble.
No.
At that point, you are literally asking for trouble.
Yeah.
But we're still you couldn't defend us though. Now you got Waddle in the middle, AB on the outside, Gesicki. Bro, our offense will be ready. Fix the line.
Is Cooper Kupp better than AB right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you got Beckham and Kupp right now in the Rams. Do they look unstoppable? With Stafford, which is a very serviceable quarterback, I'd say he's
to be fair.
Okay.
Odell has just got there though. He didn't have an offseason with the Rams. He's still running 10 plays, basically. More than 10 plays. But he's still, they call the play in the huddle, and Stafford says, this is your route, for the most part, to Odell. So give him a whole offseason. I'm pretty sure it'll look ridiculous over there. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think you're giving Waddle enough credit.
No, Waddle nice, bro. Waddle nice, but he's just Waddle though. What happens when Waddle goes down?
Does that mean he just waddle?
Bro, I need more. I need an abundance of weapons. So when ShareRide Steve comes to the show, it can't be, oh, Tua has to do it on his own. Like, no, bro, give him all the help. Give him the help that he needs. That's all I'm saying, bro. He needs help. Help me, please.
It's like Woody doesn't get stuff done by himself. He's got Buzz. He's got Mr. Potato Head. Woody has a full team. Tua needs a full team. He can't just have, I can't even think of, if Tua's Woody, I take it Waddle is Buzz Lightyear. Like you need the rest of the gang. Like you can't just have those two.
Alvin had the chipmunks, bro. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just Alvin and Simon, bro. It was Theodore too, bro. Like give him a couple heads, man.
Green Bay has Adams, and then it falls off quick.
That's Aaron Rodgers, bro. That's the best quarterback on the planet.
Hill, it falls off quick at the wideout position.
Kelsey?
At the wideout position.
But Mahomes hold up, look what you just said.
That's not a huge drop.
You said Rodgers and Mahomes, the two best literally in the league right now.
I'm talking about the top teams.
But we talking about the quarterbacks though. For someone who compared Tua to Mac Jones, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
I'm looking at
Aaron Rodgers' O-line is like the best in the league. Aaron Rodgers don't never got to worry about his pocket ever.
Tennessee has AJ Brown, and it falls off very quick. There's
no. Look what they're doing. They're not doing nothing.
Well, the Henry's out. They're running. They're a run team.
They're a run team. Okay.
But what I'm getting at is you don't need to have 3 or 4 alphas. You're trying to get this all-star cast on the outside.
I don't know. That was a bit much. But I'm just saying we can afford it. Like AB is only $3 million, bro. And Parker's on the cap for 12. You telling me I can't pay Odell 4 more and then give AB full his money? If I'm gonna spend, let's just call it $25 million on receivers right now, right? In between Will Fuller and Devontae Parker, why wouldn't I put that same exact 25 into Odell and AB? I'm not asking for it. I'm just saying put the money in smarter places. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying spend more money. Like I would gladly take AB and Odell over Will Fuller and Parker for the same money. That's all I'm saying.
You just got done telling me about how important chemistry is with the offense coordinators. Now you want to bring in 2 new fresh wideouts.
Hey,
never played in the system.
They'll have a whole offseason though. They'll have a whole offseason together.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, if this is Madden where players don't go out after games, they play games and they stay in your PlayStation 5, then yeah, you can do that. But I'm telling you now, yeah, you put Odell Beckham and AB in Miami, I give it until preseason week 3 for AB. That's something to get himself arrested at minimum, and I give it until week 4 where Odell Beckham's dad is posting on Instagram about how Tua don't find him because he's always finding his best friend Waddle, and at that point it's just like, but this is fun. This is a lot of fun.
Hey, listen, we're about to go into bonus time. We're probably gonna have a little conversation about the playoffs and possibilities and stuff like that. But before we go, I'm gonna leave you with this best career quarterback win percentage amongst quarterbacks drafted since 2019. 12-7, Tua. Mac Jones 9-6. Kyler Murray 21-22-1. Justin Herbert is 14-16, and Joe Burrow's 11-13-1. Tua's at the top of the list at 600%. Mac Jones is under him at 600%, but Tua's at 632. Joe Burrow's at like 460. Understandable. He had the first pick of the draft, went to the worst team. But yo, I think people fix the O-line, then holler at me. Before we talk about if Tua is it or not, give him the O-line first. And we about to go into bonus time. ShareRide Steve finally came back to the program, man. Got the upgrade, Mike. I see this man with a pop screen, by the way. I don't know if people even knew what that was called, but a pop screen on deck. Listen, y'all stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, ShareRide Steve, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. All right.
Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
Before we talk playoffs, I was on Chris Adams' The Fins tailgate show after the Saints game, and I was asked how I became a Dolphins fan. And, you know, obviously born and raised in London, the NFL, American football isn't my primary sport. It's not even like third or fourth choice in terms of what's shown on TV. And for those that don't know, I became a Dolphins fan because I picked the Dolphins on Madden. That's how I became a Dolphins fan. And obviously the news broke, was it late Monday night that John Madden passed away. So I just thought, you know, without John Madden and without that game, I'm not sitting here right now. I'm probably not a Dolphins fan. So rest in eternal peace, John Madden. You changed so many kids' life with that game. He changed the world of football in so many different ways. I just thought it's only right that here on Go Time Dolphins, I especially thanked him for, you know, bringing this amazing sport into my life and this amazing franchise.
You got something on Madden, Steve?
Just it's weird when people die, you don't really understand how like amazing their life was. And today, just having people break down what he did it's incredible. Minimum 100 games, best winning percentage ever, Super Bowl winning coach, Hall of Fame broadcaster, and the video game. I mean, if he just did the video game, if he just was a broadcaster, those would be that'd be an amazing life in itself. To have all of that in one, unreal. My memory of Madden will always be Thanksgiving Day and all those turkey legs. That's what I think about Madden. Just as a kid, growing up watching those games.
So I'm gonna date myself a little bit, but I used to play Tecmo Bowl, right, growing up, and then I played like what was that game? It had Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was the man, like Gannon steps back. But anyway, that's where the cannon drop comes from if you listen to Jeezy or whatever. But so I can't. Oh, Joe Montana football, right? Yeah, Joe Pro Time, all that, a whole bunch of other games. And as a child, I'm talking about, I don't even know if I was a teenager yet, but somewhere growing up, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And because there's 4 boys, we always got like the master bedroom of the house because there was 4 of us. And then there was always like the sleeping arrangement. It was only 2 beds in the house, you know, or in the boys' room, and the girls is on the other side of the house. And then my parents had their room. They always had the smallest room. So whenever there was Christmas, since we're in the Christmas spirit, we always got one game. That's it. One unit for the neighborhood, basically. Like, hey, Charles got a Sega. You know what I'm saying? Like, David got a PlayStation. Like, this is when PlayStation comes out. Oh, Frank got the PlayStation 2. You know what I'm saying? So it was only one unit. And then when you actually play the games take forever. So because there are so many of us, we cannot play the game. There's no, if you're going to play, your brother has to play with you at the same time. So now we can only play if we played each other, right? And then pass the sticks. So then it got to the point where that would take a long time too. So the only way me and my brothers, there's 4 of us, can only play this game was if we simulated the seasons. That is it. Like, so what me and my 3 other brothers would do playing Madden is we would all pick a team and we will all be general managers. So I'll be general manager of one team. My other 3 brothers will be general managers of 3 other teams. Whoever could build the best team, and we'll play dynasty mode, and we'll simulate a season, and then we'll go into the off season, draft players, scout players, free agency, and then simulate that season just to see who could build the best team. So we never actually played the game ever, and I became accustomed to it. So, you know, I grow up, I'm an adult, I'm in my own crib, I'm just simulating, bro. Like I just want to be Chris Greer. You know what I'm saying? I just want to put the team together. I want to be the general manager. So I never really got into actually playing the game. and this is probably where my football acumen came about. You know what I'm saying? Like the salary cap and stuff like that. So shout out to John Madden, legend in the game, legend in the sport. I didn't want to start off with this, but I'll never forget that he said this. I was in high school at the time, and it was the Patriots versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. And I believe this is the Patriots' first Super Bowl. And Patriots was like coming back. Patriots was a big underdog. Like everybody thought the Rams was going to win. I think the Rams probably went back to back. This was their second one in a row, I think, or of 2 of 3 years. And no one had the Patriots winning. And I said the Patriots was going to win this, and I wish I could take it back. You know what I'm saying? Looking now. So I like Patriots going to win this game. Everybody like, bro, you tripping. And John Madden said, I don't know. I think the Patriots should just play for overtime and just down it. I like, what? Bro, they the underdog. You got to kick this field goal. Ends up kicking the field goal, but he admitted, he like, yo, I would have won in overtime. Like, take a man to do that. So shout out to John Madden, man. I mean, he's like, there's no comparison. If you want to compare, you got to go to another sport. You know what I'm saying? He's like the Michael Jordan of what Michael Jordan did for basketball. That's what John Madden did for football. So yeah, man, that's where we at, man. What you got, Kadeem? Where we going?
You said you want to talk the P word. I guess we reluctantly talk the P word. Again, we talk about John Madden, talk about playing the game, being a general manager, being a head coach. I don't have my Coach K headset, although it's literally right here, but my play sheet behind me, I'm not gonna get it. I know it's actually right there. Anyway, I don't even know where to start in terms of playoffs, because
so we won't get into scenarios because there's too much math right now. Like I don't have the capacity in my brain to go through scenarios because too much can happen. Everyone who's listening to find out what the Dolphins need to do. Oh, how many wins do we need? Who do we need to lose? We got to a place where we don't need nobody to lose. Finally, now we just got to win. If the Dolphins win out, we make the playoffs. Would have been nice to clinch 2 weeks ago because you beat Atlanta and Jacksonville, but that's not the case. So we got back to where you were watching the past 4 weeks of football. We're watching, we need this team to lose. We need that team to lose. Then we need the Texans to beat the Chargers, which is never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That helped us out, right? So we've been getting a lot of help along the way. But if you're a Dolphin fan wondering what happens with the playoff race, just know that all we need to do now is win out. We got Tennessee this week. We have New England next week. It's one game at a time. If friend of the podcast, Miles Gasson, was on here talking about it. So we're going to go one game at a time. But it is – I know you guys feel it. I know I'm not the only one in my crib watching the Saints game like, let's go, knowing that we're on the brink or the precipice of a playoff berth. When you watch games right now, Steve, and knowing that we're so close to the playoffs, is it a different feeling that you've had in the past couple of years?
Yeah, no, it feels like last year to me. It feels like we got a real fighting chance, and we're coming out and executing. We're underdogs, and I just love being an underdog. It feels weird when you're a heavy favorite, and you're just more nervous. You're just like, let's just not screw this up. Underdog, you got nothing to lose, and it's enjoyable, and especially when you do well, and then it even just makes it feel that much greater. So it's been very enjoyable. Some of these games you kind of wish looked better. You wish that we were putting the Jets down instead of just letting them hang around too long. But no, it's exciting. I'm texting some of my boys. I know you just got done saying one game at a time, but I go, listen, we beat Tennessee this weekend. I'm going to be at that Dolphin game. I will be losing my voice. I will be out there. And when I go to games, man, I'm all about the defense, man, and cheering and affecting the game as much as possible. So that, if it comes down to that game, the New England Patriots at home, and it's the winner goes to the playoffs, that atmosphere is going to be electric, man.
Throwback jerseys.
Oh, my God.
Throwback jerseys.
That's what Ross needs to do, man.
Steve, I have to ask. Steve, how many Dolphins games have you been to, and how many have they won?
My record is strong.
That's fine. That's fine. If your record is strong, I'm fine with you going.
I was there for the Baltimore victory when we won one game that year. So,
Okay. For the Greg Camarillo.
I was in the stands.
Cleo Lemon.
Okay, that's fine because
bro, you know what? Wait, whoa. You were there for the Cleo Lemon, the Greg Camarillo, the walk-off against the Ravens, the 1-win season. And you were also there for Tua's first pass.
I was.
Bro, this some iconic stuff, bro. Hey, my brother was there for the Miracle in Miami. I'm just saying we might have to get some representation at the game, bro.
Yeah,
you might have to show up, Holmes. I'm just saying.
I'm all about it. We can't let New England take over that stadium either, man. I won't be having that. So I'm trying to recruit already.
I ain't gonna lie. LB said he was thinking about going to the Titans game.
Dude, I will travel and I will hold him down. He ain't going to that game. There's LB. I know you're listening. I love you, dude. You ain't going to that game. No way.
I think LB, for the record, Steve. I think LB is like 0-4 for Dolphin games. Yeah, something like that, bro. Yeah, man. Nah, man. That's all I really have, bro. Like it's too with a little still too far out to get into the percentages and we need X, Y, Z. Just win. I will leave y'all with this stat though. Best quarterback win percentage in November and December since last season. Patrick Mahomes 16-0. Tua Tagovailoa 11-2, and Aaron Rodgers at 12-3. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
That's like the one thing about the Brian Flores Miami Dolphins. They finished strong. Obviously, we lost that Bills game, but all 3 years we finished strong. And one more year. Not one more year, but let's continue. Let's literally, right now, to kind of finish off that stat, there's only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL this season who are undefeated in November and December, and that's Mahomes and Tua. If it stays that way, the Dolphins in the playoffs. So
hold on. Is Tua undefeated in December? That Bills game wasn't in December. It was in January. Oh, that Bills game was in January.
Yeah, it was the last game of the year.
It was in January. Dang. Well, he's 11-2 in November and December. So that was up, man. Yeah. Hey, appreciate you sliding, ShareRide.
Thanks for having me, man. The best podcast going.
Hey, my dog.